Yes.
Get ready to take control of your own financial destiny. It's time to build your dream business. Welcome to the Empowered Entrepreneur.
This just got exciting.
With your host, Spider Graham. Your education starts now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the broadcast. This is Spider Graham. And this time around, I want to talk about something that I think is perhaps one of the most important aspects of business success that we really don't talk a lot about. You know, we read a lot of books on how to be successful in certain things. We talk about things like persistence, of course, which is incredibly important. But one of the things that we really don't bring up as often, which I think is almost as important as any other single characteristic or aspect of planning and business best practices, is believing in yourself. Now, I don't mean this necessarily from a touchy-feely kumbaya standpoint. I mean it more from a singularity of purpose standpoint. Let me explain. When you sit down and make a plan, have a dream, decide what it is you want to accomplish in your life, you have to have a definite goal in mind. Otherwise, it's very hard to achieve. If you're very vague and say, okay, my goal is to make a lot of money, well, let's define what a lot of money is. Because a lot of money to some person could be $25,000, and to somebody else it could be $25 million. So you have to be very specific with how you define these things. And once you've defined it, you say, okay, my goal for this year is to make $300,000. All right, well, that's a very definitive goal. And now you have singularity of purpose in the sense that this is the goal you are trying to accomplish. Now, a goal like trying to make money is a little bit different than a goal of running a business, because running a business is, let's face it, it's a little bit more challenging. It's a little bit more vague in the outcome. You have a perfect picture of what you want the business to look like, but you don't necessarily see the map very clearly as to how to get from where you are right now to where you want to be at all times. Yes, you want to get the preliminary plans down, but it's very difficult. But the reality of any success in business is believing without question that you are going to accomplish that goal. And not only that, you are going to believe without question in the nobility of your goal. You're going to believe in the overall value and worth and purpose behind what it is you want to accomplish. Because if you don't have a mindset that says, I am 100% committed to achieving this thing, whatever it is, then you're going to open yourself up for the possibilities that you're just going to give up on it. You're going to lose the persistence. You're going to lose the overall drive and desire and passion to accomplish this. And so you need to be able to think about what it is you're trying to do, and you personally need to believe it beyond a shadow of a doubt that you can accomplish this, that your success is already assured. All you need to do is keep on keeping on. Now, there are a lot of challenges, of course, because we can sit there and we can say, all right, this is my dream, and I believe strongly in my dream, and I believe I'm going to accomplish my dream. And then you have a day where life just doesn't seem to be treating you so well. You wake up, nothing's happening the way you want it to happen. Client calls up, is not happy, deal falls through, whatever it is. There's stuff that it will set us back emotionally. It's raining out, you look in the mirror, and you say, I'm going back to bed. This is not working out for me. And there are times we just feel defeated, and there are times we start to question our own motives and thinking, you know what, this is just a stupid idea from the start. Who am I kidding? I can't make this work. And you want to stay away from that. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, because it actually will happen to all of us. Even if we're trying to stay as positive as possible, we all have bad days, and we have days filled with plenty of self-doubt. But you have to get back into your own mindset, and you have to get back into your passion, and you have to get back to the belief that everything that you're working for is worth it, is achievable by you, and is going to pay off in the long run. So understanding who you are, understanding what you want to accomplish are incredibly important parts of how this works. And if you're the kind of person who is not always feeling very confident, then one of the things you need to do is work on that confidence. Now, I want to bring up something because I think it's a challenge for a lot of people when it comes to the idea of confidence, or we can call it pride. I don't think we can call it arrogance, but let's go down into that part of the spectrum as well. And that is, for a lot of people, the idea of being prideful is synonymous with being sinful, because pride, after all, is one of these 7 original deadly sins as found in the Bible. Now, my personal belief on pride is that when you look at a biblical reference to something like pride, I think it's probably closer to vanity. I think it's closer to the idea of ultimate narcissism, something that I think we can all agree is rather unattractive. But I believe that pride is a good thing. I believe that pride is a good motivating force. And I'm not saying being so prideful that you just walk around puffing yourself up all the time without anything to show for it or any reason. I'm saying pride of purpose. I'm saying believing enough in what you are trying to accomplish and taking pride in your goals and your ambition so that you can stay with it. Because once again, if you are in a position where every time you feel prideful because you're trying to accomplish something, you feel guilty because your religious upbringing tells you this is a sin, you're going to have a major conflict. You're going to have a problem. So I want you, first of all, you give yourself permission to succeed by saying it's okay for you to be happy. It's okay for you to accomplish something meaningful. And it's okay, frankly, for you to be prideful of the things that you are doing, as long as it's not about rubbing it in somebody else's face, which is the ugly side of pride. So let's stay prideful. Give yourself permission to succeed. Now, there's also another challenge, because we're talking about ourselves. I'm having this great conversation with myself. I'm getting up every morning, I'm looking in the mirror saying, you know what? You can do it. You can accomplish this. And I can believe it. But what happens when you're talking to a friend or a family member and you're saying, hey, I have this really great idea for a new business and I really want to go for it. And they say, have you really thought this through? Yeah, you know what? I had a friend who tried that once and it didn't work out really well. And he kind of crashed and burned and lost a lot of money in his house. And his wife ran away with the children, whatever it is. There are lots of horror stories that people are only too happy to share with you about how they or other people have failed. And here's the challenge that we run into. Of course it affects us. And of course it makes us doubt our own motives when other people are willing to share with us the things that they believe are not going to work about our plan. Once again, you have to believe what you're doing with a singularity of purpose. You have to believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that what you're doing is what you need to be doing and what you can do and what's going to make your life good and what's going to help you to succeed. So, what do you do when people come in there and say, hey, I don't think this is going to work for you? Well, first of all, understand that a lot of people are doing it, whether it's misguided or not, from a position of love. I know it sounds a little strange, but the reason that they're telling you these horror stories, the reason they're trying to kind of knock your dreams down is because they don't want to see you get hurt. They do love you. And they're afraid that if you go off and you do this thing, you're going to end up being someone who's just setting themselves up for a fall. They're going to have to pick up the pieces with you later going, yeah, I know we really wanted to do this, but, we kind of told you this wasn't going to work. You don't want to have I told you so's in your friends and family if you can avoid it anyway. But you don't have to fail. That's the other thing. You don't have to fail because you understand a lot more about how to drive forward and reach your goals. You also understand that every time you step forward and things don't go well, you might have to change it up a little bit. You're going to have to go to some sort of a different strategy or different optimization path to make it work. Nothing we do is going to be 100% perfect from start to finish. Trust yourself on that. So every time you take a step forward, you're going to say, okay, what do I do next? I know where I want to go and I know what my initial plan is, but if this isn't working, how do I change it? And so by moving forward slowly and by moving forward purposefully and by moving forward with a singularity of intent, knowing what our goal is, we can accomplish absolutely anything. So when somebody comes to you and says, hey, you know what, have you really thought this through? I don't know if this is a good idea. You can forgive them. You can understand where they're coming from. They're probably not trying to sabotage you. They're probably not trying to make your day bad. If it's somebody who has accomplished a lot of amazing things in their life and they say to you, hey, you know what, maybe you can approach it a little bit differently, it's worth listening because this is somebody who's accomplished things, who's been where you are right now and who understands the challenges involved in becoming successful in anything. But if the person who's giving you this wise advice has not accomplished much in their life, then they're probably coming from a position of fear. Whether it's fear that you're going to be successful and make them look bad, which is ugly, but it happens, or fear that you're going to end up hurting yourself and they don't want to see that happen, which is prettier, but it's still not a great place to be. So give yourself permission to succeed. And this includes never giving up. This includes having a singularity of purpose, understanding what your goal is, understanding the importance of that goal, understanding the overall value and why you want to accomplish this goal, and do it without question. No apologies to anybody about why you are doing what you want to do or what the purpose for it is. If it's your passion and if you have a burning desire to accomplish this, that's all that matters. And at the end of the day, the people who stick with it, the people who constantly keep going back to the roadmap that they've created or they're drawing as they are on the road, are the ones who are going to make it. And the people who are there to say you can't be done are the people you don't really need to listen to. There's so many great stories of people who have suffered through huge bouts of rejection. There's a great TED Talk, by the way, if you can look it up, with Elizabeth Gilbert, who is the author of a best-selling book called Eat, Pray, Love. And she talks about wanting to be a writer. In essence, she was a writer. Even though she had published nothing, her passion was writing. It's what she did. It's what she was. And she dealt with rejection after rejection after rejection of her books, of her stories. And she kept on going. She kept on trying to accomplish this. In a lot of ways, it looks like mania to people on the outside. But it's a self-belief that she was a writer. Even if nothing was being published, she was a writer. And so as a writer, her job was to write and to keep on writing and keep on writing. 6 years of being rejected day in and day out for her hard work. You think this doesn't play with your ego? Absolutely does. But because you start to believe that the world doesn't like you. Maybe I am a hack. Maybe I'm not that good. Maybe I'll never become a writer. And then she was able to get her book sold. And then she's able to become a best-selling author. Made a lot of money, which was not her goal. She wanted to be an author. But it's a nice side effect of it. But had she given up, it wouldn't have happened. One of my favorite stories with another writer is about writer Stephen King, who, as a young man, had a spike on the wall of his bedroom where he impaled all the rejection letters he got back from publishers as he was trying to sell his short stories. And he knew at the time that he wanted to be a writer more than anything else. Once again, this burning passion, almost a mania, but he stayed with it. And he talks about this collection that he sat in front of over his typewriter of all of these rejected notices impaled on this wall. And all it did was to help motivate him to work harder and smarter, write better, because he was looking for that day when the letter came in of someone saying, yes, Mr. King, we would love to publish one of your short stories in our magazine. And of course that came to pass. And by the way, Stephen King also had to deal with the challenges of being a novelist. His first novel, Carrie, was rejected dozens of times by publishers. Nobody wanted to publish it, to the point where he became so frustrated, he threw the manuscript in the garbage. And his wife pulled it out of the garbage, calmed his nerves, and he resubmitted it and got it published. And as they say, the rest is history. He's one of the best-selling authors in the entire world today because he was able to have that persistence and he was able to believe in singularity of purpose. He was a writer. He was going to be a writer. And guess what? That's what came to pass. That's who he is. And that's the legacy that he leaves in the world. You're going to leave a legacy too. It doesn't have to be a grand legacy, but it's a legacy that's going to allow you to do a better job of making yourself happy and staying within the parameters of what it is you want your life to be. I'm not saying you have to go out there and make $1 zillion to be a successful person. Not at all. Successful people are in the business of going out and achieving their goals. That's really it. They set a worthwhile goal. They work toward it. They suffer defeat. They suffer self-doubt. They stick with it. And at the end, their success is almost assured because they used the right ingredients to accomplish what needs to be accomplished. So stick with it. Understand why you're doing it and believe in yourself. Believe in yourself with every fiber of your being. And regardless of what people say, they say you're crazy, that invention will never fly, as was said to the Wright brothers and to Thomas Edison and almost every other great inventor of history. There's always somebody there to say, no, this isn't going to happen. You're wasting your time. You're not wasting your time. This is your life. Make it count for something. Make it important and stay the course. Believe in yourself. And if you can't always do that, find somebody who will believe in you as well and pool those resources. Pick that person up when they need a pickup. Let them pick you up when you need a day to be picked up. And you're going to find yourself walking down a really amazing path in your life. That's all I have for this time. Thank you so much again for joining me. And feel free to visit us on spidergram.com. If you're not already a subscriber, we would love to have you join us. Join the conversation. We're having lots of great resources, lots of other things just like this podcast that you can sink your teeth into and learn a lot more about how to be a successful entrepreneur, as well as how to do a good job communicating with other people online. Anyway, we'd love to see you there. This is Spider Graham. Have a fantastic day.
For more free resources and advice for entrepreneurs, visit spidergram.com and become a subscriber today.